And it looks like we're live according to YouTube. What's that on my... I hope that didn't do anything. Hello. There's just a little blackout on my webcam up there, camera. Hi guys, how's it going? It's Monday and I am tired as usual. Yes. Hope you guys are doing better. See, we pinned that message and I think we should be good to go. All right. All right. Now, let's have a quick look at the word count sheet, shall we? Because I think, was this one the last time we streamed? And I've written a couple of days extra, so not much, just barely 1,000 words. But it does mean that we are above 105,000 words. Woo! More exciting though is where we are in this story. Because now I just titled this stream Power of the Warhammer. I don't know if we're actually going to see the power of the Warhammer, but it has just happened, which is where we will start this day. So why don't we just start here, like sorry. You know, let's start here. So Jad Notho has found Vespa as she crawled out of the vent in the graveyard, and Vespa and Lemon has finally gone on the attack as Shad was investigating the humming and shaking Warhammer lying on the ground, and Otho was what's it called? He wasn't desperate for it, but like he was increasingly more and more scared of it, thinking that the Warhammer was haunted, which I mean is actually kind of true. So Vespa and Lemon are on the attack. Lemon went for Otho, Vespa went for Shad to get the Warhammer, and she has just pushed him down, and that's where we'll jump in. But Vespa paid him no mind. This is Shad after she has pushed him down. After her initial actions seemed to have worked out, she went straight for Rhenàidd's Warhammer, lying carefree and unmoving still as if nothing had happened. As Vespa put her own hands on the handle though, a sudden fear struck her. What if she was suddenly... suddenly? That sounds weird. Funny how I didn't catch that the other days. Unable to lift the hammer yet again. Tell me, what is the matter, Rhenàidd? Rhenàidd could feel her hesitation, her apprehension, and decided to give Vespa a helpful push. Is that something that Vespa of the Vigorous Oath is afraid of? Vespa looked at the humming Warhammer before her, brow furrowed with determination. No, was all she said, and stood up, the hammer following her without any issue. Sounds a bit weird, so I have requested a better phrasing, please, for my future self. Shad too, however, had found his footing again, sparing no time going for the attack. I'll just break you in half instead, little doll. The fact that Vespa was now standing, holding a hammer that he had not been able to lift, only served as fuel to the fire that was now his blind rage. Despite the large man stomping rapidly towards her, with full open hands ready to grab and crush her. Maybe ready to grab and crush, maybe just? Yeah, I think that's better. Vespa found herself keeping a cool head for once. Ignoring the aches of her tiny body, she nimbly stepped to the side, letting the frenzied guard rush right past her. Shad barely had time to react as Vespa twirled around herself, Warhammer held in stretched arms, and with a scream put all of her strength into the blunt blow that hit the guardsman back and sent him flying straight into the thorny bushes, chainmail rattling through the air in impact. No sound traveled back from where Shad had crunched a hole in the thicket. Not that Vespa really paid him any attention. Her astonished eyes and mouth were fixated on the, for a person of her stature, rather oversized hammer. The feeling she had felt in the moment, that sounds weird. Also, this looks like a C. The feeling she had felt. The feeling she had felt in the moment of impact was unlike any other hammer she had ever tried. Not Brother Two's hammer collection of his smithy, not the training hammers, or even Afire's own Warhammer when she had snuck out of her chores to play with it. None had given her the sense of power she had felt. That's the title of today. That's why it's the title of today's stream. None had given her the sense of power that she had felt. For a brief moment before Rhenàidd spoke to her again, she even felt bad for Shad, who had been on the receiving end of the mighty blow. What? Did you think it was for fun that it was decided to tether my spirit to the weapon bestowed upon me, and a weapon of the great tree between realms? A great tree between realms? The hammer's hum within Vespa's grip gave her a sense of Rhenàidd smirking, as if he had read her mind and preemptively answer. Ah, Shad, help me! Vespa didn't get to respond to the spirit. I think there should be a two here. I don't know if it's a good phrasing, but I think it should be a 2 here. Her attention drawn instead to wings flapping, loud screeches, and a still panicked, that was the word I was looking for. Panicked and fearful Otho. Panicked Otho, who was apparently not aware of what had happened. Maybe not even what was going on, what with the little yellow bird angrily attacking his face, doing minimal damage. Vespa had to aid Lemon as fast as possible before Pudgy Otho came to his senses. Running as fast as a... Oh, as fast. Wow. Running as fast as her small legs could carry, Vespa decided to deploy the same tactic that had worked on Shad. After knocking the long pike from Otho with a slice of her hammer, Otho's hand. With a slice of her hammer, Vespa pushed the pudgy guard. Otho, having no idea what was happening, was easy to tumble. She didn't even need all the strength that she had put into it. And much like with Shad, the outcome was the same. The guardsman walking back a step or two in a desperate attempt of balance before he stumbled over a grave column, plummeting straight into the moor. He hit 2 or 3 on his way down based on the sound of marble cracking. Hey, Isolauren! Welcome to the stream, dude! Good to have you here. With no time to waste, and her wanting to make sure that Otho wouldn't get the chance to get back on his feet. Back. How are you doing, Isolauren, on this fine Monday? Well, I don't know. It's just Monday. And then let's say tired Monday, because I don't know, I'm tired. I'm always tired right now, apparently. Back on his feet, Vespa leapt over the grave column that had so gracefully helped her in bringing down the second guardsman. She used the arc and momentum of a jump in the swing of the Warhammer, bringing it down. To swing the Warhammer. I think it's better. To... When do I jump? To swing the Warhammer. bringing it down onto the rusty half-helmet on Otho, who barely had lifted his head from the ground in his confusion. Bonk! I thought that was funny. The blow sent Otho's head right back down to the ground between a pair of grave columns. He didn't attempt to get back up. Sloan says, I'm doing well. It's my second to last week of vacation. Time flies. Yeah, time flies. Indeed, so fast. But good to hear that you're still on vacation, in vacation mode. It's already all good. All nice. He didn't attempt to get back up. Lemon landed awkwardly on Vespa's shoulder, tweeting fast between her heaving breaths, her little chest quickly moving up and down, or back and forth. No, I don't think so, Vespa answered, her voice riddled with nervousness between her own heavy breath that she had tried to get under control. I don't like heavy breathing. Heaving breath and heavy breaths. I don't like that. Yeah. Too similar. I didn't put any strength into it this time. Not after what happened with Shad. She looked over to the hole in the thorny bushes. Still no movement or anything. So I don't think that he's... It looks like I forgot to think. I don't think that he's... Vespa swallowed something suddenly stuck in her throat. And that's where we begin. On the very, very first line of page 286. You know, we might actually... I'm not sure. Probably not. But there's 3 pages left in this book, in this notebook. And then, well, then we'll end the story in the 4th one. Suddenly something stuck in her throat. As she... So yeah, she doesn't really know her own... Well, she knows her own strength, but she doesn't know the power that this Warhammer gives. I mean, she put all of her strength into bonking Shad on the in his back, and then he flew. A large man flew into those bushes. So now I wanted to be a little nervous that she actually killed Otho here with a bonk on the head. I really, I mean, this whole sequence is just worth it for just to be able to write bonk in a serious story. I love that, if I should do say so myself. Writing bonk in a story. As she slowly moved, I guess, as she approached the dead still. I don't know if that's a word. Kinda hope so. only a... Well, she's already next to him, right? She jumped over... She jumped over one of the grave columns. I guess it's his face. Rotho's face. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. She squatted. Next to him. Neither heard nor Lemon said a word. As she did. Vespa swallowed. A lump once more. Swallow the lump once more. Do you really think that he's dead? Think that he's dead? Oh wow, okay. I don't know why, but I'm so tired today. And I can really tell, like, my brain did the same last time, didn't it? I was totally, like, it was just not working. Or was it last Monday? Oh my god. Come on, brain. But I do want her. I want Vespa to have this moment of, oh my god, I actually have the power to kill someone with this weapon. Before moving into the temple, where the big thing is happening, right? Leaning on the Warhammer. Much like the two guardsmen had done with their pikes. Moments earlier. Vespa had gotten her breath. Oh, that's a lot of under control. But her heart. That's not how you spell hard. Kept racing. But her heart kept racing. And she suddenly felt a little ill. Lemon's answer didn't really help. Her tweets were Her tweets were actually a little mean. Her tweets were mean. I don't know. How do I want Lemon to respond to this? I mean, it could actually be a pretty good, like, maybe not a lesson, but a pretty good. If Lemon was like, whatever, we hated them, just let them die. And then Rhenàidd saying something like, no, it's a good thing. You should never take lightly to killing someone. Although this one isn't dead, I can still feel his presence, right? Because Rhenàidd has been able to feel a presence. Yeah, let's go with that. Her tweets didn't leave much in terms of empathy. I feel like there's another word that I would really like to use. Empathy. Compassion. Concern. It might be concern. Or compassion. Let's go with compassion. Didn't leave much turns of compassion. Only adding to Vespa's stomach turn. But I didn't mean to Vespa's words. Did not come as easy as the swings of her hammer had. I was just they were going to I didn't mean to. She repeated. She repeated. She couldn't keep her eyes off of Otho's still body and face. Did I just paint on my own shirt again? I feel like I do that a lot. I keep dropping it on myself, my ink pen. With raised wings, Lemon had just begun a harsh rant. about how much they disliked the two guardsmen and how they had it coming when Rhenàidd interrupted it's a specific tone Rhenàidd would interrupt with here. Oh god. Easy Lauren says, I have not been writing or reading in a few weeks, but I've played a couple of good games with great stories. Nice. So what games have you played? And you know it's all about relaxing and having fun, especially when you're on vacation. Yeah, what games have you been playing? When Rhenàidd interrupted. Maybe it's fine. What Vespa is feeling is good. The spirit from everywhere and nowhere at once. One should never take lightly. When ending a life. No matter what the circumstances. Rhenàidd's voice. Rhenàidd's voice was stoic, yet comforting. And Vespa found that his defense of her actions helped her stomach a little. Oh, hey, it's Lauren. You said one puzzle game where you decode a message from space. The message from deep space. Very good puzzles and a good sci-fi story. Nice. Very sounds like a very accurate title. That one. Another game is also a puzzle game called The Incident at Galley House, which is an investigative murder mystery story. Played a lot of puzzlers in the past few weeks. Nice. I love puzzle games. Point and click adventures are my jam. I think we already discussed Monkey Island. But yeah. Have you played Return of the Obra Dinn? That was amazing. What a great puzzle game. So simple and yet so engaging. And the way that the story is branching out as you progress is so cool. Yes, very good. Yeah. And also, like, what I was so fascinated by is the fact that the premise sounds so exceptionally dull. Like you're an insurance investigator who has to see what happened on this ship that drifted into shore or into harbor. But then the mechanic of traveling back in time and seeing the last moment of the person alive is just so good. And what I find even more impressive about that is that the whole memory thing where you walk around in the still of the last person's last memory, there was a limitation on Lucas Pope's part because he didn't know how to animate. He had never even done a 3D game before, so he didn't really know how to animate properly. So what did he do? He came up with a gameplay loop where everything was a freeze frame, so he didn't have to animate. I think that's so cool. Another in the same vein is The Root Trees Are Dead, where you fill out a family tree by investigating books, magazines, articles, and websites via the internet in the late 90s. That does sound a bit like, yeah, cool. Is that a good one as well? I mean, it must have left somewhat of an impression if you played it and remember it. Very, very good. Nice. Same Dair of Galley House. Cool. Nice. It's been a while since I played a good puzzle game, I feel like. I'm mostly playing Slay the Spire 2 at the moment. Which I guess is somewhat of a puzzler in the way you use your cards, right? But yeah. I kind of want this to be like, maybe this is a little bit of one of those great monologue speeches, right? You know, the ones, like Gandalf speak to a monologue to Pippin in Lord of the Rings about death is just the next chapter. This could be kind of a moment like that. But I don't think I have the mental capacity right now to make it any good. Another good recent puzzle game is The Artisan of Glimeth, where you construct stained glass windows according to logic rules. I think I've heard of that and seen that. Stained glass windows. That's kind of a fun mechanic. Sounds like. I used to be really into indie games. Like, I still love indie games, but when I was trying to make something of my gaming YouTube channel, I went hard on indie games and what was going on in the indie space and all that. I sort of left that a little bit, I guess. So I don't really know a whole lot of newer indie games anymore. But they will always have a special place in my heart. It is a hard and tough world. In he continued, as if giving a lecture. You know what? I'm going to attempt to do like a first draft of a grand speech. So bear with me. It's not going to be very good, but we're gonna try anyway. But that does not mean we have always be hard and tough ourselves. Selves in. I don't know. Sometimes, whoa. Like now. We may find our hands forced for our own survival. But even then, we must not lose ourselves. Oh my god, I feel like Joey in Friends when he's making the speech for Monica and Chandler's wedding about sharing and giving and receiving and oh my god, it's so bad. Lose who we are. I'm gonna say who we are instead of ourselves. Whether or not force a spirit to leave. Actually, let me just 0056 feeling like Joey, caring, giving, sharing, receiving. As long as indie games is a very broad term that does not really mean anything anymore. It's one of the most popular tags in Steam for games. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's also because it's so easy to actually start a game, right? I mean, but there's so much really crap out there on Steam. I wish Steam would be more curated than it is, because there's just so much. Well, there's also so much AI slop now, but that wasn't the term that I wanted to use. Which is, is technically an indie game if you don't have a publisher. You're just a single dude vibe coding. I feel like there was a term for these really bad games, these really shit games that are like $1-2 that barely qualifies as a game, because that counts. If they put indie in the tags on Steam, that counts as well. Is Lauren said, what did Syndrome say in The Incredibles? When everyone is super, no one is super. Yeah, exactly. When everyone is indie, no one is indie. That's true. To leave its vessel or gently lead it to the amber sleep. Amber sleep in aiding trees between realms. We should all care. As long as it's asset flip games that are churned out with little effort a few years ago, nowadays there's a lot of AI mixed in too. Yeah, asset flips. I feel like there was a different term for it though, which was like, it had the same connotations as AI slop. I just can't remember it. It's probably something that in the middle of the night tonight, I'm gonna sit up in my bed and be like, I know it now. That's the term. But yeah, it was a little bit like asset flip. Same connotation as well. Oh, sorry. You know what I sort of realized? I don't actually have an idea of how big the hammer... Oh, I'm out of frame. I don't actually have an idea of how big the hammer is. Like, it's a maul. It's like a sledgehammer thingy. But for a gnome... Well, a fey folk, but that's this world's gnomes, this world's hobbit. So it's not going to be like as big as a typical war maul, right? But Vespa, is only like 60 centimeters tall. So I have no idea like how big she is. Like how big it is with her wearing it, handling it, lifting it. It's just something that I don't know how important it is, but I feel like I need to have an idea of it, at least. It is something that you I don't know if that's an actual word. Oft forget. It sounds like a word, like an old-timey word of saying often. The more you live, fight, no, live, and the more that you fight, but know that I am proud of you, Vespa, for caring even when you don't have to. Now that you know, what power is in your grip. Wow. I wish everyone would be like... The world would be a much better place if so. So Lauren says the only thing I can think of is that it is a one-handed war maul for humans, and Vespa wields it with two hands. The shorter maces are about 60 centimeters. So the hammer would be as long as Vespa is tall. Yes. But I do want it to be... So if we go here, I do want it to be like a paladin in World of Warcraft. You know, these giant hammers. So if this was oh, god damn it. Cannot just open the image in the chat. So if this was the Fey folk, the adult Fey folk, then the hammer would be this size. But you know, if the Fey folk was half his size, the hammer would still, like this hammer would still be, it would be, I feel like it would be bigger than a one-handed warhammer, you know, classic warhammer. No, not. There we go. I think. No. Warhammer. That one. So this one is more traditional Warhammer, right? This is a one-handed Warhammer for a human. And this is what the Paladins normally wield. But this is supposed to be a much larger sledgehammer thingy. But yeah, it is something I need to figure out, like the size. Because I don't really care a whole lot for the aesthetic of this small. I know it makes sense, like fighting wise, to have this small hammer. Like this was able to puncture plate armor, right? Which can be cool in itself. I just like big things like this one. And I mean, it is a weapon that is designed for a Fey folk and not a human, right? So and also, of course, it's made of wood. Even the hammer, even the head of the hammer. It's like the one ring, it changes size to the wielder. That could be kind of funny. Yeah. I wasn't entirely thinking that though, but it would be kind of funny. the speech left. Vespa with only a blushing face. Had stopped turning. She still didn't quite know what to say. But Lemon apologized. To her. And that made made warmth. Well, what do you know? If that wasn't page 286. So we go to page 287. New page hype. Whoop whoop. As long as it's like a war mallet. Yes, it is like a war mallet instead. Though I'm sure it's not a... I'm sure it's not a practical... anything practical to have like a war mallet. I mean, war mallet. Yeah, it is something like that. Big hammer. I think it's also called a maul. I think we discussed it on stream before. War maul. No, not Darth Maul. Yeah, this is all World of Warcraft. I don't know, I think it's difficult because there wasn't really, as far as I can tell, there's not like really a thing, a mallet like that. It does say here war maul is a long-handled hammer with a heavy head of wood, lead, iron, or steel. Is similar in appearance and function to a modern sledgehammer, but sometimes shows as a spear-like. The use of maul as a weapon. So it was sort of a thing, but yeah. I think a shillelagh would be a good variant. It's an Irish club. How do you spell that? Shillelagh. That just looks like a cane. Combat shillelagh. What is a shillelagh? Okay, this is a bit more. Well, I mean it's more like this. Shillelagh. Is it? Interesting. That's funny. That made warmth. Extend. But this one, Rhenàidd, continued. He isn't dead. And neither is the other one you fought, the other one that you fought. Blinking multiple times. As a mean to realize. Oh, what was the page number? It was 287. Number fact coming up. Love it. 287. As a means to realize, to I guess it is realize. Vespa spent a few counts going through every emotion she knew. Finally, she settled on confused. Settled on confused. Number fact, 287 is a semi-prime, as it has only two prime factors, 7 and 41. End of number fact. Thank you. Thank you for that number fact. um. Otho isn't. Or Shad? No. The spirit claimed. I can feel their presence. Still. Still. But why did you? Oh yeah, I should probably write it into the revision now. Revision list. Rewrite monologue. Oh my god, this revision list is just already so long. Rewrite Rhenàidd. Rhenàidd monologue about caring. Page 286 slash chapter 20. There we are. Why did you make me think? Oh my god, that looks terrible. ... Lemon's choice tweets were not as incoherent, nor were they kind. As Vespas. Mm. Rhenàidd has an Irish-sounding name, says Isilauren, which would also fit the shillelagh, but I guess the Paladins with hammer motif is a goal here. Well, yes and no. So I'm very, very happy that you're saying that Rhenàidd's name is Irish-sounding, because that was what I was going for, or Celtic, Scottish Gaelish. That's the whole the Fey folk, their language in this world is inspired by Celtic and Scottish Gaelish. So that's cool. But even though he was buried there at this Blackrivers Keep, the Paladins didn't come to this castle until like hundreds of years after he was dead and buried. So he actually does have stupid motorcycle. So he actually does have a different sort of motif, but I just really like the idea of a really big hammer. So his motif of the Warhammer is not bound on the Paladins. They just use their own hammer and shield. So yeah, the hammer, the mallet that he is in is much more wooden. I guess you could say it is a little bit more like the shillelagh. Shillelagh. But still hammer or mallet looking. I did have a really rough sketch back when something like this. This was the original sketch of like the hammer, and then I realized this should be a ram's head. So the head is actually somewhere else right now, and it sort of was turned into this, with this being wooden, all of it wooden from the realm tree itself, where they came from. Yeah, I just really think it's cool with the really big hammer. But I think I'm very, very happy that you said that Rhenàidd sounds Irish sounding, is Irish sounding. That just means the goal accomplished there. Although now that I'm thinking about it, maybe there is also the similar. I like that there is a similar motif in the hammer. There is a coherence there, even though the Paladins didn't come until much later and took over the place. I guess that's more of a subconscious thing that I sort of wanted that hammer motif to be like throughout everything. Yeah. That's kind of cool. Because it is only good that you will never forget that feeling. Rhenàidd argued. Rhenàidd argued. Rhenàidd argued. The time will come wow. Perhaps much sooner than anyone would want, than anyone would want. For you to send someone's spirit away okay, I need to figure out what the Fae folk believe happens to a spirit that leaves this world outside of a realm tree. Because right now they believe in the amber sleep, but they also believe that you can only enter the amber sleep if you die by the roots of a realm tree. So it's like supposed to be taboo for them to die outside of this. And it should also be a sense of wondering for Rhenàidd as to why Vespa, what she describes is the amber sleep, but like how did she end up there without being at the realm tree? What happens to spirits did outside of a tree between realms, realm tree? That is something that we need to have in the revision. Figure out what Fae folk believe happens to a spirit that doesn't dies outside / away from a tree between realms. Make it sound as taboo as fans believe it is. Well, I guess they mostly believe that Fae folk should die around a tree between realms. Lauren says, my first thought is the person's spirit is lost and through some ritual the spirit can be guided to a realm tree. But if someone dies and is not guided back, they will be lost forever. That is, I think that's some sort of what I have been thinking as well. Because the Fae folk believe in what they call the Great Cycle, which is, you know, the inspiration is reincarnation. But, you know, the spirit, a person dies, they go through the tree between realms, they go to the Amber Sleep, and they progress closer and closer to the Amber Father. And when the Amber Father believes the spirit to be ready, he sends them back to the Amber Mother, which is, you know, the earth, nature, as a guide. So an animal that becomes a spirit bound as a guide to another Fae folk. So it's very much inspired by Buddhism and reincarnation, coming back to guide someone, which is why it's so important for the Fae folk to die properly around to have their body by the tree between realms. So I think, like, my initial thinking was just that, you know, a spirit just evaporates. Like you say, it's just lost forever. Which would mean they couldn't continue and guide their descendants or their people. But that, of course, doesn't say anything about what would happen to other species who dies. Like, what do they believe happens to them? Do they believe something happens to them? I don't know. There's so much background stuff that I still need to find out, to figure out. I don't know. I feel like I should have figured it out before I started the book, but then, you know, it was a challenge, and there's also something to be said about writing it down and figuring it out along the way. But I do have a small feeling that once this book is finally done, then the easy part is over. Because then comes the revisions, and then I need to figure this stuff out, that I'm like the missing background stuff. Are there How did the characters turn out to be? What do they need to change? Any plot holes that need to be addressed? There probably are. I know there are. Any promises that need to be made so we can progress and have a nice payoff of them. But yeah. Oh well, that's future Thomas's problem. Because I don't want to say here send someone's spirit to the amber sleep, because Vespa is not supposed to be able to do that, right? Maybe just stay away forever. And if you ever should stop caring, then I believe that you would also have lost maybe we really should lean into the word lost there. I mean, that could be kind of nice. Like you said, Lauren, lean into this wording. You must never take the power that this Warhammer provides lightly. Are you with me on this one? Lauren asks, does the afterlife actually happen, or is it only beliefs, maybe partially what happens? I do have an afterlife in my story. And then I have different interpretations of it by different religions and different species. Some of them are accurate in some areas. All of the religions that describes the afterlife as, you know, what it is, these fields of gold that Vespa entered, they all have some things that are correct about it, but like they differ from it in different ways. For example, Fey folk believe the only way to enter it is through the tree between realms. Like that's what the trees are for, they think. These giant world-like trees. And then there are other religions that have their own idea of afterlife. For example, the teachings of the 5 pillars that the Paladins believe in and the humans believe in. They have a totally different afterlife that has nothing to do with the actual afterlife world. So I kind of like my hope is that when you read about it, once, you know, I've expanded the stories in the universe, you can sort of piece together, oh, these religions are correct and these religions are not correct. I wonder why that is. Do they have something in common, right? I enjoy stories where religious beliefs are warped versions of the truth. Yeah, so do I. And I think it's kind of cool to have it like that. And that's definitely what I want to convey. You know how I want to have 10 main species in my universe, and I think I want I want 4 of them to have like a correct assessment or correct idea of what the afterlife is. I want them to be connected to the afterlife. There is the Fey folk, there is the devils, and 2 others. And then 6 of them should have another religion that makes sense to them and their way of life, but isn't actually connected to the actual afterlife. But yeah, there is a Vespa visited the realms of the death realms, spirit realms, the actual spirit realms when she died and came back from it. Isidore says, I like the Horizon series. Tribal people live in the post-apocalypse. Each tribe has their own belief that they try to explain their environment, and it turns out that they all have some nuggets of truth. Nice. That is basically, I've never played the Horizon series. I quite like the idea of them, but yeah, I just never had a PlayStation after the PlayStation 1. And that is exactly what I want as well. I want each of the religions in my world to, as you say, explain the environment and their culture, their way of life, but I want them each to have like a how would you say it? I guess a nugget of truth of how everything came to existence. Some of that is the afterlife, the actual afterlife world. That's the Fey folk and the devils and, you know, the orcs and one other. Not that orcs are in this story, but they are there. And then you have the dwarven religion of the the slumbering giants, they have a nugget of truth about an event that happened in this world, and so I'm also making the some of the background lore for the centaurs that they're gonna have a short story at some point, the one after Want, if I ever finish Want, which is going to be my 4th short story in this world. 5th actually, but 4th in my journey anthology. And then the centaur one's going to be the 5th one, and they are going to have a nugget of truth about how the whole world, like the genesis of the world, but not the afterlife, but like how the world came to be, all in all. And I think that's kind of, I really like that. I really like that way of doing things, but they all differ, you know. And some of it is true, some of it is not. Because I think that's one of the things that I find most fascinating about old religion and mythology, is like it was there as a means of explaining the world, right? Most of it was weird and and didn't make a lot of sense, but it did at the time. And then of course there were nuggets of truth, there were stories being passed down through the generations and becoming mythologies, right? I think that's so cool, and I want to mimic that at least. I want to have a world that feels like that at some point. As long as the games are available on PC now. Oh yeah, that's true. Forgot about that. Maybe I need to buy Horizon. The Horizon games now that the summer sale is still going. I think it is, isn't it? Okay, let's see. We have like I'm gonna go on for like half an hour more. Should be enough time to begin the very last page of this book, and then we can go into the next book on Wednesday. That sounds good. Oh, no sale right now. It ended a couple of weeks back. Huh. I thought there was a sale right now. Was it like a Swedish game sale, or did that also end? I thought I saw something. I'll just have to wait until the next one then. Yeah, there are always some sale going on, but not the big summer sale. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Um. Hope that you both understand that. Confused as she was. Confused as she was over everything and all of the emotions I just sort of realized that I'm doing it again. We're supposed to have this urgency, you know. There's a sacrifice going on inside the temple. We're supposed to come in and save the day before the cult, the Temple of the Drowned, killed everyone in there. And now we're spending a lot of time just doing something else, learning a different lesson. I guess we can lampshade it again, but that might be something, you know, for the pacing, for the revision. You know what, I'm gonna write it. Chapter 20 pacing. Pacing. Make sure urgency is radiating. Urgency shines through. I think the term wax poetic is fitting, say is Lauren. What on earth is wax poetic? Wax poetic meaning. Waxpoetic.net. Oh, that's a hip hop band. What the hell is that? Increasingly flowery and elaborate manner, often becoming overly verbose. It is typically used in derogatory sense to describe someone who is being excessively wordy and poetic in their speech. Yeah, that's true. Yep. That's a very good way of describing me all the time. I hope, though, that you didn't use it in a derogatory manner. She had gone through. I do like it though. It's time and a place, right? But I do kind of like the where she thinks she's killed him, killed both maybe, and she's like, "What did I do?" You know. Also, so you have this. I did in a sarcastic manner. Yeah, I know. Don't worry, dude. I know. But I do kind of want to drive that point home that it shouldn't be easy to take a life, right? It wasn't anything that I planned, though. It just sort of happened. But there's a balance there. And I definitely think it can be structured a little better, maybe. And in a very short amount of time, Vespa still did not find the right words in response. When the Warhammer stopped humming. Oh, that went really quickly, those M's. Warhammer stopped humming. Not that she needed to. Not that she needed to. And before She could. Otho groaned and moved his head slightly. Without opening his eyes. This sent Vespa's confusion right away, right out the window. Confusion. Away at once. I don't know, there's a lot of confusion here. Is Lauren says, if I was in a hurry and I accidentally killed someone, I would go into shock. I would not start to process my emotions until much later. Yeah. You might be onto something there. But of course, that would mean that we wouldn't have the great monologue about caring. Yeah, that is something to think about. Might be way better actually if Vespa went into shock. Just completely freezing her. Do the Dumbledore route and talk to Harry when the dust has settled. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely going to be like an epilogue. Not there's going to be an epilogue, but there's also the final chapter is going to be a lot of Vespa recapping what happened. Yeah, like you say, the Dumbledore route. I'm gonna say here. Should Vespa consider Vespa going into shock after dealing with Shad and Otho? I mean, I think that could be like, then there could be some drama with getting Vespa out of shock and getting her to move on to the temple. I think that could actually work. It's a pretty good idea. And you know, that way we wouldn't need to have a monologue talking about the severity of the situation. It would be much more, we have to move, we have to do something, we have to save everyone. And you know, then in the Dumbledore route, we can say that Shad and Otho didn't die. They were just really, really injured. I think that's way better, to be honest. Yeah, I like that a lot. A lot. After dealing, so this would could provide a sense of urgency and extra drama getting Vespa back. And then, whoops, Shan Otho could then be revealed to not have died. Later. Chapter 21. Of course, it does nullify everything that we've written today. But so it is. So are things. Okay, so I spent way longer on that than I was supposed to. I was hoping to actually get at least a little over 2 pages done. And I initially thought that I wanted to stream until 10:30, which is in 15 minutes. So let's buckle up and yeah, and go for it. I might have to stream just a little longer. Let's just move to later. But it also gives it would also give this to the reader, it would give this ambiguity, like, did she actually just kill someone? I really like that idea, so thanks. Thanks for that, it's Lauren. The urgency. Just use that word. Well, I guess when we say that it's just moved to later, it's the way I'm picturing it right now is that during this final confrontation that is going to happen in just a little bit, Vespa is going to be knocked out cold towards the end. Like, she's been through so much. She is still a little girl. And then she's going to wake up in her bed with her older sister who has saved the day. Like, truly saved the day. Vespa helped. And then, yeah, she's going to be the medium that is, you know, that wraps things up, and not Rhenàidd. Because I think it can be really funny to have it as like, oh, the hammer is still lying on the floor of the temple because no one can pick it up, right? It's only Vespa who's able to do that. I guess a fire is also sort of like a mentor for things. But yeah. But right now, the urgency of their situation crashing down. Over her. Vespa felt embarrassed. Once more. Forgetting why. And what they needed. Forgetting what they needed to do. And why she, Lemon, and Rhenàidd had traversed escaped the catacombs. In the first place. Ronin. Vespa whispered. Mostly as a reminder to herself. Lemon chimed in. Chimed in with a cobble. Couple of loud Hey, Triceratops Rider, welcome to the stream and the chat, dude. Is this your first book? Yes, it is. My very, very first book. Which is one of the reasons why I'm sure it's a bit... it's taking longer than I thought it would have. Because I keep stopping myself and be like, I don't know what to do next. What's going on? And it's also a reason why, as C.C. Lawrence said, I'm writing so much wax poetry, being a little bit too wordy. I know I've been repeating myself multiple times throughout this book. There's a lot of cleanup work is going to happen. I've written short stories before, though. I've written 4 short stories and 4 or 5 what I call 1-minute stories, which are like stories that can be read in a minute. But yeah, this is my first book. It is such a different beast. But I mean, it's fun, it's challenging. I'm learning so much just by writing it. Loud chirps. And wings high. Wings up high. But the encouragement wasn't needed. Whoops. Vespa was already gunning. His gunning is not a... Yeah, let's just go running. Running. Towards the Grand Temple doors. Isolauren says in programming there's a thing called pair programming, where one person codes, another sits by and brings thoughts and ideas. It can help with boosting the productivity and the quality of the code. This stream reminds me of that. Maybe there is something similar for writing. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much the same. Yeah. I mean, I've done that before. When I studied meteorology. I was never a good coder, but I think I was a good pair programmer. So like, I was sitting next to someone who actually knew how to code, and I was sort of the voice of reason, the logic bringer, I guess you could almost say. I had one person that I worked really, really well with like that. And I mean, there are writing groups for writing, but I think that's maybe like you meet from time to time, right? And you talk to each other about what you've written and like what your challenges are, where you want to go, give each other inspiration. Yeah, there's also multiple perspectives, which can help a lot with avoiding pitfalls. True that. I mean, I love it when you guys come with ideas. And then I just hope that you won't sue me later over them. Wait. Rhenàidd. Rhenàidd suddenly. Rhenàidd. Oh my god, I'm missing a word here. It's just a very, very early, very early test reader. Very, very early. Yeah, exactly. Alpha reader, pre-alpha reader. That's your guys' role. Seeing all the struggles when I don't know words. Rhenàidd urged Vespa to hold, just as she was about to open. I don't remember if I called them the grand doors. Check to see what we called them. I am not going to wait any longer. Vespa argued. We've already spent much too long doing anything else but help. They're going to kill everyone. With their poison. Easy Lauren, I see that you're trying to write a novel. What a Clippy face. Oh my god. Hello Clippy. Is that actually Clippy in the in-video chat replay? Oh my god, that looks so much like Clippy, doesn't it? Wow. That looks so much like Clippy. That is actually, wow, it is Clippy. Like you said. It is Clippy. My god, you didn't even have to do the eyes. What? That is so funny. And so, I don't know. So terrifying as well. Whoops. Clippy in chat. That is so funny. His real name is actually Clip It. Oh, really? But nobody knows him by that name. I have only ever known him to be Clippy. That is strange. Interesting. Wow. All right. It's true. Yeah, well, I believe you. I believe you. It's funny. And I assure you, the spirit argued. Vespa already argued. Argue it. Argue it. Contested. Debated. Contended. Contended. Let's go with that for now. In an effort to calm the what he could sense. Hey, that was page 278. We're moving on to 288, which is the very last page of this here book. Okay, I'm gonna write a couple of lines more. New page hype, Sarah. Exactly. Whoop whoop. Is Lauren, did you know that you can write emojis in Windows by pressing the Windows key and full stop, the period? I did know that. That is how I write emojis when I use my keyboard. I even realized like a year ago. That's also how you do the you know, the ASCII emoticons. Oh, you can't see it. Oh, what do I write it here? Oh, wow, that doesn't show up on the stream. That's interesting. It shows up now. Interesting. But yeah, new page hype. Whoop whoop. Good to see you lurking, Sarah. Since was a little girl on edge. But let me ask you this. Who else with Squire? Oh, damn it. Squire Ronin. And his terrible plan besides chat and although beside those do Rhenàidd know their names? Do Rhenàidd know their names? I guess it does, but Easy Lauren, I'm waiting for the number fact for 288. Just you know, you sort of have a something to live up to now. You have a thing you need to do. There it is. Number fact 288 is a super factorial. 1 exclamation mark times 2, 3, 4 exclamation mark is also the sum of the ascending powers. 1 to the power of 1, 2 to the power of 2, 3 to the power of 3, and 4 to the power of 4. End of number fact. What does the exclamation mark mean in math? I know you say super factorial, but I don't know what that means. It's a great fact though. So thank you. 288 actually had a lot of properties compared to most numbers. I had to pick and choose. Nice. Well, it's a good. That just means it's a good page to end the notebook on, right? Ah, okay. So 4 exclamation mark is actually 1 times 2 times 3 times 4. Interesting. So that first one is 1 times 1 times 2 times... No. Times 1 times 2 times 1 times 2 times 3 times... Alright. God damn, that is some high level math. I feel like. Vespa's hard think. Spirit was right. She only knew of those 3. And of course, the shadowy figure from the catacombs so long ago, from the deep dungeons, the deep dungeons. What seemed like so long ago. It's actually I'm quite happy with having like a, hey, remember that dude? Yeah, that was what I was trying to say. I think I messed it up. But yeah, that's quite the quite the math. The multiplication. If their plan is to kill all of the residents of what I can understand to be a holy knightly order, then I would guess the numbers of the temple of this temple of the drowned to be quite significant. Spirit went on. can also be written as all that mumbo jumbo. Okay, so let's I think we'll end it. This is a good place to end. Just a little bit more maybe. Oops. So what are you saying? That we can't help? Help them? We might as well have been stuck in the catacombs still then. Vespa held on to handle of one of the great bronze. No, they're wooden. Great wooden doors. But she didn't open it. No. That is not what I am saying. Hey, Miss Blogger, welcome to the stream. I hope your story is going well. You did just join at all. Just as I'm about to end the stream. Rhenàidd words. Very confusing, man. I'm using that a lot. Used a lot. Vespa could feel hope. I'm gonna end it right there. Yoink. Okay. It's Lauren. Also 12 is a dozen, so 12 to the power of 2 is 144. It's called a gross. So we shouldn't really talk about 288. It's too gross. Wow. That was beautiful. Beautiful math jokes, Lauren, to end the stream on. Miss Blogger, when is the next live stream? It can it be at 1 p.m. or 2 p.m.? The next live stream is, I don't know where are you from the US, Miss Blogger? Because it's going to be on Wednesday, but it's going to be 10, no, not 10, sorry. Same time, which is 8 p.m. Central European Summertime. And depending on where... Okay, you're from the US. But yeah, it's... depending where you are in US, that would be... in Fairfield. Okay, so I don't know actually what that is. Fairfield time zone. Oops. Oh, that's in California. Okay. So yeah. Time zone converter. So we're in Copenhagen, and then we have Fairfield. Oh, this is a Fairfield in Iowa. It's going to be 8. California. Let's just go with Los Angeles. So it's going to be depending on... Oh, you say Fairfield, California. Okay, so I'm gonna remove that one. Yeah, it's going to be 8 o'clock in Denmark, Central European Summertime, which I'm afraid is 11 o'clock in California. And then I'm going to go on to, you know, 10:30, 11, which is now. That's sort of the schedule that fits me best, so I'm sorry. So on Wednesday, 11 o'clock, 11 a.m. your time. Yes, that's 11 a.m. to be clear, exactly. It's the next live stream. Wednesday, the 22nd of July. Okay, we do have a little bit of counting to do, but luckily we started this live stream at the exact first line, so it's easy. It's 1 and 2, and the master sort of counting. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. All right, 2 pages and 17 lines for day 102. Boom. You know, it was almost 1,000 words today. That's pretty nice. Just extend those. Okay, so that means we're at 106,332. Miss Blogger says okay. Yeah, sorry, Miss Blogger. I don't know. That is probably going to change. The streaming time is going to change to the weekend after like from like mid-August, because I won't have the time in the week, so we'll see how that works out, but I'll of course update you guys on that once we get closer to it. Oops, what the hell? Okay, that looks nice, but I will for now go in here. I will update this. So 106,332, and we will. No, that's. Wait, I'm in the wrong one. Oops, it's this one. Wow, Okay, so that updated. both places. That's interesting. I was in the stream frame from NaNoWriMo, which looked way different. But it still updated both places for some reason that I don't know. This here goes to 78. Dual spinning. That one goes to A5. And that should indeed be the correct. We can place this here nicely. And that, my dear viewers, dear friends, will be the end of this live stream. Next time on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central European Summertime, Wednesday the 22nd of July, we will end, not the story, but we will write the final page of this notebook, at which point we will begin an entirely new notebook, and that one should be able to contain the ending. I should be able to finish this book within the next 96 pages, I think it is. Hope you guys will be there. And I just want to thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for dropping by. Lauren, Sarah, Miss Blogger, for chatting. It's awesome to have you here. Triceratops Rider. Triceratops Rider, exactly. It is amazing that you guys want to spend your evenings with me doing this. Great work. Thank you, Lauren. Great work on the number fact. That is an amazing tradition that was sorely needed, sorely missed last time when you weren't around. No pressure. Anyway, I hope to see you guys Wednesday. Remember that we write our own stories. And with that, I'm saying bye and ending the stream. Alright, see you Wednesday. Bye bye.